You know you finally had enough when you're vulnerable to yourself to finally no longer feel shame in what you feel. You might currently be in a place where you're just done with so many things, including yourself, but not in a way where you're holding shame, but in a way where you're vulnerable enough to tell yourself, I no longer have shame in what I feel. And what you currently possibly may be feeling is a sense of spiritual numbness. A numbness that you've probably been hiding from, or running from, or even shutting out for so long. But you know that part of you has been speaking too loudly lately that is too hard to ignore. Sometimes we come to a point when we realize we choose the quickest numbness over deep healing, where we choose the painkiller of the world rather than the omnipresence of what's trying to make us be still. We got used to what should have made us pause. Maybe for so long you have been the one to keep everything steady while your heart was shaking itself. And along the way, while trying to keep the peace, you started to realize that your soul needed care too, while you're trying to take care of everything and everyone else. And within that isolation, within that place of feeling lost, you come to the realization that our Creator did not create us or create you to be a savior or to be everyone's savior. Along the way of realizing you're the savior for everyone, of always being available, of always being the caretaker, of always being the lovable person, the mature one, the bigger person, you come to realize that you got so depleted that all you wanted was grace. Because with grace comes peace. But here's the thing. Grace does not meet the version of you that performs. Grace finally meets the version of you that is willing to finally be truthful. So really what I'm saying to you is, drop the act. Realize that you're not here to perform. You're not here to even try. You're not here to prove yourself. We walk through this life trying to prove ourselves, trying to be seen, trying to be heard, trying to be loved, and then we get lost in that chaos. And then now you might be in a place where you can no longer survive within that chaos, and all you want to do is grow. And growth requires maturity. But maturity doesn't mean that you forget the parts of you that desire the best for you. But in order to finally allow ourselves to be open to receiving what our heart is calling to, we first have to meet ourselves in the quietness that we have yet to reach, that a lot of us are not willing to reach. The place where we're so done with not being seen, not being heard, and not being loved. The part of us that is stained, wounded, that we are ashamed of expressing. The pressure gets heavier because we try to control our way out of fear. We call it discipline. We call it responsibility. We call it being mature. But underneath, the heart is really terrified of letting go of that identity that we have labeled ourselves as, to the point that we use our pain as a badge of honor, only because we have become so accustomed to what feels familiar. And we learn to teach ourselves to become terrified of what's unfamiliar. But the mind is not structured for faith. It's not structured for growth. It's structured for protection. But sometimes we use our heart as a shield and we call it strength. but really it's a falsity of the willingness of not having the courage to be vulnerable enough to say, I've had enough. So now you're finally in a place where you shut everything out. You have no fear in letting go. That block list may be on point. And now that you finally have found solace within yourself, you're starting to realize you want utter, steady peace. But boo-boo, if we're going to be honest, control is not peace. Control is fear trying to stay in charge. Maybe what you call wisdom is just anxiety trying to sound holy. Maybe what you call strength is fear refusing to surrender. Our Creator did not create you to be a machine, or a perfect one at that. Our Creator is asking you to trust. And what I mean by trust, it starts with trusting where you are right now. When you finally had enough, it's not because you're lost only. It's not because you're wounded only. It's because you're just done refusing to lie to yourself and say that what you're feeling is not true. And instead of running from that, you're wanting to learn to accept that. So whatever is calling to you, whatever is telling you to let go, but not let go in a way where you're not allowing yourself to just be honest. What I mean by letting go is refusing to allow yourself to get lost in the obsession and the desperation, and instead start realizing that what if me being still is more than enough. And more than enough really means that you are enough as you are, and your existence is not a mere fixation of trying to please the world. Instead of abandoning yourself, start realizing, what is my authority? How can I allow my authority to be expressed regardless if it's shunned, regardless if it's abandoned, regardless if people don't understand, regardless if people are intimidated? How are you going to allow yourself to surrender to the fact that fear, anxiety, all these things that has put so much pressure on you is not trying to make you stagnant, and it's not trying to make you think that there's something wrong with you? What if it's all here to finally be heard by you and accepted, and to define it and redefine it in a way that it serves you rather than hurts you? So boo-boo, if you're in a place when you finally had enough and you no longer have shame in how you feel, what you feel, and what you've been through, honor that. Own that shit. Make sure that block list is on point and keep it on point. But really understand that your journey is a story that is meant to be told. Even if people don't hear it, are you going to allow yourself to hear it? Are you going to allow yourself to love it, trust it, and realize, damn, not only how far I've come, but can I honor that the old version of me that went through all that did what they needed to do to get me in this place where I could finally have a sense of relief and sigh and cry and just say, it's okay to have enough. It's okay to say I'm done. But it's also okay to realize that who I am is not meant to be of this world. But I'm allowed to create something within it, regardless if it's not understood. So boo-boos, I'm going to leave it there. I don't know who needed this message. But I hope it made you feel a sense of relief of realizing that you're not alone. And this journey is not meant to be a marathon. It's not meant to be accomplished. It's not meant to be proved. It's meant just to be embraced. So how can you allow yourself to learn to embrace? Until then, I'll see you on the next one. Only love.